Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this video I want to look at the Transformers Prime First Edition Optimus Prime. This is the re-release, so I can't say for sure it's 100% the same as the original First Edition, but I think it is. I think it's the re-release of the First Edition, so it's the second release of the First Edition, if that makes any sense. It's absolutely 110 million%, which I know doesn't exist, better than the Hasbro version, although this is technically Hasbro now too. It's better than the standard version with the blue arms. It does share a couple pieces, like the hands I think are the exact same mold. I'm not positive on that because I don't have my original one anymore, but okay, I can't get the gun out, come on. That's one thing I'm going to point out later. But it does share a couple pieces. I'm pretty sure the hands are the same. Maybe a couple little odd pieces here and there. But by and large, it's completely new, or different, I should say. And altogether better. You can see right off the bat the colors are 100% better. The mold is better. The shoulder pads look way more accurate. The forearms look more accurate. The legs look more accurate. The only thing I don't really care for as far as the sculpt goes is the knee pads. I think the knee pads are actually more accurate on the other version because it has a little bit more of a crown-shaped knee pad, but that's okay. This one has almost no backpack at all. The paint app is clearly better. The one thing I'm not quite so sure about is this brownish gunmetal. It's definitely got a brown hue to it, and it's really not supposed to. If I remember correctly from this show, I haven't seen an episode in about 2 weeks, so I might be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be that color. But either way, overall, it just looks way, way better. As far as accessories go, he's got this sword knife thing. Not really a knife, but it's not any particular one. It's not the one, I cannot remember what it's called. It's not that fancy one that he did sonic booms with, but it is some kind of blade. It's made out of soft rubber entirely. That's why it's a little tricky to get out of his hand, because it kind of, when you pull on it, it just flexes. But it's done really well. The sculpt is good. The paint app is good on it. So that's fine with me. And you don't have to worry about it breaking, so that's good. He also comes with a better blaster, which is solid black with kind of a sparkle mixed in. But it still looks really good, and it goes on his hands the same way. They both go on gun style. So the sword sticks straight out of his arm, which is good because it looks like it's actually coming out of his arm, like in the movies. So that's fine with me. And then the gun looks really good too. I'll show you that again real quick because I don't know if you saw it. So the gun goes on like that, which is fine with me. And it's good size. And it's all black, which is reminiscent of the G1 gun. So accessories are also way, way better. He's just about the exact same size though. He stands about 7 1/4 inches to the top of his head, a little higher if you count the smokestacks. Really, the robot mode is just about perfect. The head articulation, it's technically on a ball joint, but it has very little movement up and down. Side to side is almost not there either, but it rotates just fine. The shoulders rotate right there where it connects, and then it has this hinge right here. That's really all you're going to get out of the shoulders. Technically, you can unplug that to bring the arm around if you wanted to. For a certain, maybe you can get a display done that looks good, but you're really dislocating the shoulder, so it doesn't look the best. But it is there if you want to use it. The bicep swivel, oh, that's another issue too, is it does pop out kind of easily. So you need to be careful with that as you're posing him. Bicep swivel comes in right there above the elbow joint. It's at a bit of an angle, but it doesn't really matter too much. It's not going to affect much posing. And then, of course, the elbow joint is just a single hinge. But you get a little bit better than 90 degrees, so that's good with me. The hands have rotation, and that's about it. And due to the sculpt, it's kind of limited, just because they catch up right there. Catch up. But you can really get it to go all the way around, even though it's kind of tight. So that's fine. The hands are solid chunks. There's no finger articulation, but it's only a Voyager class, so that's to be expected. The shoulder pads move, by the way. I know you saw me doing that, but that's good because you can bring the arm up without having the shoulder pad get in the way, and it still looks good, so that's nice. There is a waist twist, unlike the other version. It's not the best because of where the pivot is. It's kind of far back, So it doesn't look perfect, but you can still probably get some nice poses done if you want to. And it is there, so it's better than not being there at all. The hips are ball joints. Well, they're not ball joints, but they're effectively a ball joint. Any pose you want to do, you can do. It technically has a hinge here and a swivel at the groin, but it's there, so that's okay. And then there's a thigh swivel, but it's right above the knee, so it's hidden from the front pretty well. You can't see it so much, so that's good. Full range of motion. You'll get whatever pose you need to get done, you'll get it done. The ankles are somewhat limited. They do have a hinge in them, but it doesn't have a great range of motion because of the sculpt. It can't go forward any more than that. It can't go back any more than that, but that should be enough. It does have an ankle rocker. Right where that blue round piece is, that's where the ankle rotates. So you do get more mobility out of that. So really, it's enough. It could be a little better, and this does pop out kind of easily. But as long as you're aware of that, you should be able to get some nice poses out of this guy. So really, the robot mode is 99% perfect compared to the other one especially, but just as a standalone figure, it's really good. The backpack's almost non-existent, so that's really nice. And then the legs are solid and filled in, unlike the other version. And the paint and skull, everything's just so much better. So without a doubt, this one's the way to go, and I 100% recommend the robot mode. I'm going to give it a 9.9 out of 10 for robot mode. Let me get him transformed, and we'll talk about vehicle mode. Okay, so I have Optimus transformed into his vehicle mode, and it's not as good as the robot mode, but it's still pretty decent. The transformation itself is really nice. There are a few problems. One is if you leave the legs straight, the wheels on the back are way low compared to the front, so that's not any good. So it's not really a problem because you can just kind of adjust it like that, but then it puts everything at an angle, and it's kind of weird looking, but they do roll okay once you do that. Second thing is, having it in vehicle mode, I noticed that the painted reds are flat and a different color than the molded reds. Now, paint's always going to be at least slightly different, but it's noticeably different. I don't know if it is on camera, but in person it looks pretty bad. Other thing is, the brown parts look really bad. The painted lights on the brown parts look really bad. And this panel does not fit together. This piece right here does not go where it's supposed to go. It just keeps popping back out, even though I have it transformed properly. I've taken it back, broken it back down, and put it back, and there's no way for me to get it to sit where it needs to sit. It just keeps popping back out, so that's kind of a problem. The lights are clear blue, the windshield's clear blue, so that's okay. The wheels have no paint on them, so that's kind of a bummer. The silver is metallic. These have no paint on them at all. They're just soft rubber, and they don't look great because they should be silver like this, and they should be harder plastic. It does have the trailer hitch here, which is okay, and 2 ports right there. The guns, or the gun and the sword, fit in either of the 3 holes, but it just looks pretty bad like that. And even in the trailer hitch, most Optimuses, you can put the gun facing forward to try to make it more condensed, but it doesn't fit. The only way you can do it is sticking it straight out. It goes down farther, but it still doesn't look any good. And then of course the sword looks just as awkward. Either you can have it like a tail or like a crooked sideways off-centered tail. So it just doesn't look good. Even though it's a place to store the weapons, it looks pretty silly. So that's not the best. This part, even though it's filled in pretty well, it's also pretty hollow and doesn't look really great. This doesn't look like legs, so they did a good job with that aside from the legs being right there. So it could be better. The vehicle mode's definitely not a selling point for this figure, even though it has the Autobot logo on the front. It's passable. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. There are too many flaws for it to be good. Definitely, if you're going to buy a figure, buy this figure, buy it for the robot mode. My opinion is that all Transformers should be purchased for the robot mode, because otherwise you can just buy a model of whatever car you want or vehicle and do that. But that's up to you. This figure, though, for sure I have to recommend as robot mode. It's almost perfect. Vehicle mode is just run-of-the-mill, 6 out of 10, nothing special. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope it was informative. And I hope you come back for more videos in the future. In the meantime, keep collecting.